Horror lovers, welcome back to our YouTube channel, where horror stories and mysteries unfold. Today, we will take you to one of the most terrifying and cursed places in the world. Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest, is located at the foot of Mount Fuji in Japan. The forest is located in Yamanashi Prefecture, about 100 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. Aokigahara is known for its natural beauty and dark history, with many reports of suicides and supernatural phenomena occurring there. Follow the thrilling journey of Kenji and Haruka, two brave explorers who dare to uncover the dark mysteries that surround this forest. Can they survive and break the curse that has claimed so many lives? Or will they become the next victims of this merciless forest? Get ready to feel the real tension and terror. This is the story of the curse of the Aokigahara Forest. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications so you don't miss other horror stories. Now let's get started. Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest, is located at the foot of Mount Fuji, Japan. This forest is famous not only for its natural beauty, but also for the dark mystery that surrounds it. Over the years, many people have come here to end their lives, leaving behind an inescapable aura of gloom. Spooky stories of restless spirits and the curse of this forest haunted locals and visitors alike. Kenji, a nature photographer who wants to capture the beauty and mystery of Aokigahara Forest in his lens. He has a curious personality and tends to pursue challenging things. Haruka, a paranormal researcher with a background as a medium. Haruka has the ability to sense the presence of spirits, and often helps people who are disturbed by supernatural entities. She is serious and determined to uncover the secrets of this forest. Kenji and Haruka arrived at Aokigahara Forest on a foggy morning. They both brought complete equipment for their documentation project. From the beginning, they felt an unexplainable strangeness. The temperature in the forest suddenly dropped drastically, and the wind that should have been calm became an eerie whisper. Kenji felt a vibration in the air, like there was something invisible but very real. Kenji and Haruka got out of the car, breathing in the cold morning air filled with thick fog. They lifted their backpacks and equipment, feeling the cold air piercing their bones. The path in front of them looked gloomy, as if inviting them to explore its hidden mysteries. "I already feel the strangeness of this place," Haruka said as she rubbed her goosebumps on her arms. Kenji stared into the forest with eager eyes. "This will be our best project, Haruka. Let's find the answer." As they walked deeper into the forest, the trees seemed darker and denser, as if blocking the way out. Strange sounds began to be heard, from faint whispers to haunted laughter. They decided to set up camp near the entrance of the forest and spent their first night discussing plans for exploration. As night fell, rustling sounds and footsteps could be heard around their tent. Haruka reminds Kenji to stay calm and not to leave the tent. The next morning, they find mysterious footprints around the tent that seem to appear out of nowhere and disappear just like that. Kenji and Haruka sit in front of the tent, looking at the footprints that seem to circle their tent. "Who could be wandering around here at night?" Kenji asks anxiously. "This isn't human, Kenji. I'm sure there's something else here," Haruka replies with a serious look. Kenji and Haruka find the remains of personal belongings of people who have been in the forest. A worn-out diary, a grim suicide note, and faded photographs. Haruka begins to feel the presence of restless spirits. Kenji, on the other hand, begins to experience hallucinations that make him feel trapped in the forest. Haruka bends down to pick up a dusty diary. She opens the first page and reads the trembling handwriting. "I can't take it anymore. This forest is sucking all the life out of me. I'm sorry." Kenji feels the world spinning around him. She saw a shadow in the corner of her eye, a shadow that seemed to be staring at her with blank eyes. "Haruka, I feel strange, like something is following me." On the second day, they found an old hut filled with relics. Inside, there were notes and drawings made by the people who had hidden there. The drawings depicted eerie figures with glowing red eyes and sinister smiles. Haruka opened the creaking door of the hut and stepped inside. The walls of the hut were covered with drawings that appeared to be drawn with a trembling hand. Figures with glowing red eyes and sinister smiles adorned every corner. "It's like a warning from those who were here," Haruka whispered as she studied the drawings. Kenji took out his camera and began taking pictures. This will be solid evidence. We must find out what really happened here. The supernatural disturbances became more intense. Shadows began to appear in the corners of their eyes, and strange sounds became clearer. As night fell, the forest turned into a maze of darkness. The sound of invisible footsteps and unexplained screams frightened them. Haruka found an ancient altar that was suspected to be the source of the curse. She tried to perform a ritual to appease the spirits, but an angry spirit appeared and stopped her. Haruka stood in front of the ancient altar, filled with strange symbols. She closed her eyes and began to chant the spell she had learned. Suddenly a strong wind blew and the sound of screams filled the air. A shadowy figure appeared in front of him, blocking his attempt. "Get out of here! Don't bother them!" the figure shouted in a thunderous voice. Haruka flinched back, feeling an invisible force pulling her away from the altar. Kenji tried to get closer, but he felt the air around him turn freezing cold. Kenji and Haruka became separated while fleeing the angry spirits. Kenji found a hidden cave filled with the belongings of the suicide victim. There, he found the last video recordings of several people who had been in the forest. The videos showed their fears before they mysteriously disappeared. Kenji hid in the dark cave, looking around with fear in his eyes. He found a broken video camera in the corner of the cave. With shaking hands, he played the last recorded video. In the video, someone spoke in a trembling voice. "They came for me. I couldn't escape. If you find this, remember, never enter this forest." Kenji struggled to find his way out of the seemingly deformed forest. The trees moved. The path he had been on disappeared. He heard Haruka's voice calling out to him, but as he got closer, the voice turned into a sinister laugh. Kenji trudged through the forest that seemed alive. Every time he thought he had found the way out, he ended up back in the same place. "Haruka, where are you?" he shouted desperately. Haruka's voice could be heard in the distance. "Kenji, I'm here. Come quickly." But as he got closer, the voice turned into a sinister laugh that echoed in his ears. Kenji managed to escape the forest with the help of a local who happened to be near the entrance of the forest. The resident, an old man, told him that many had tried to explore this forest but never returned. He said that the forest was inhabited by angry and vengeful spirits, and that those who entered it were forever trapped under a curse. The old man looked at Kenji with eyes full of concern. "You're lucky you got out, kid. Many aren't as lucky as you. The forest is inhabited by angry spirits, seeking souls to accompany them in eternal suffering." Kenji felt a shiver run down his spine at the old man's words. "Haruka's still inside. I have to go back." The old man shook his head. "If you go back, you might never get out again." Kenji took all their footage as evidence and released their documentation with a warning to people not to enter the forest. However, despite the warning, many people were curious and interested in exploring it. The documentation went viral, and many people tried to research further into the curse of the Aokigahara Forest. Kenji sat in front of his computer, editing their video footage with shaking hands. Every second of the video felt like a never-ending nightmare. He decided to upload it to the internet, hoping to warn people. Never enter the Aokigahara Forest. What we experienced there was no joke. The forest is alive, and it wants us all trapped inside it, Kenji said into the camera in a firm voice. Within hours, the video went viral, attracting the attention of the media and paranormal researchers from all over the world. Many tried to contact Kenji for more information, but he chose to close himself off from the public. Still traumatized by the experience, Haruka is still trapped in the forest. She tries to communicate with Kenji through messages left in various strange places in the forest. Each message she leaves behind contains clues and warnings. She discovers more about the history of the forest's curse and how the spirits that inhabit it date back to ancient times. Haruka walks through the dark forest trying to leave messages for Kenji. "If you find this, I'm still alive. This forest is an endless labyrinth filled with angry spirits. They are souls from ancient times, trapped in a curse that cannot be broken." She finds another ancient altar, larger and more sinister than the first. This might be the key, she thinks. She tries to uncover the secrets of the altar, hoping to find a way to break the curse and free the trapped spirits. Paranormal researchers and historians begin to explore more deeply into the curse of Aokigahara Forest. They discover that the forest has long been the site of ancient rituals and human sacrifices. The curse stems from spirits who never found peace after their death. One researcher named Dr. Sato finds ancient records that reveal more about the origins of the curse. Dr. Sato sits in an ancient library, poring over dusty old scrolls. "This is it," whispered to himself as he found the centuries-old note. "This forest has been a place of sacrifice since ancient times. The spirits of those sacrificed never rest, seeking new souls to accompany them in their eternal suffering." Dr. Sato realized that in order to break this curse, someone would have to perform an extremely dangerous purification ceremony. He contacted Kenji, hoping that they could work together to save Haruka and the spirits trapped in the forest. Kenji, though still traumatized, decided to return to the forest with Dr. Sato and his team. They planned to perform the purification ceremony at great risk. They traveled, the supernatural disturbances grew more intense. Kenji heard Haruka's voice calling out to him, guiding them to the site of the ceremony. Kenji, Dr. Sato, and the paranormal research team walked cautiously through the forest filled with an eerie aura. Their every step was accompanied by whispers and shadows that followed. "We must find the ancient altar mentioned in this note," Dr. Sato said as he examined the ancient map he had brought. Suddenly, Haruka's voice rang clearly in Kenji's ears. "Kenji, I'm here. Follow my voice." Kenji nodded to Dr. Sato and his team, and followed the voice. They arrived at an ancient altar surrounded by strange symbols and candles that were still burning even though no one had lit them. Dr. Sato began preparing for the purification ceremony, chanting ancient spells that he had learned. As the ceremony began, angry spirits appeared, trying to stop them. The battle between Kenji's team and the spirits was fierce. Haruka, who was already weak, managed to help by giving the last clue she had found. With courage and determination, they managed to complete the ceremony, but not without sacrifice. The angry spirits emerged from the darkness, staring with glowing red eyes. "You won't make it," one of the spirits shouted in an echoing voice. Kenji and his team fought with everything they had, but the spirit's power was too strong. Haruka, who could barely stand, approached the altar and gave the last clue she had found. "We have to sacrifice something valuable for them, something they value." Dr. Sato understood Haruka's intentions and sacrificed the most precious thing he had, an ancient talisman passed down from his ancestors. With that, the spirits began to subside, and the purification ceremony was successfully completed. With the ceremony complete, the spirits were finally at peace and the curse of the Aokigahara Forest was ended. Haruka and Kenji made it out of the forest, but not all of the team members survived. Their sacrifice brought peace to the many souls trapped in the forest. Kenji and Haruka walked out of the forest, feeling a heavy burden lifted from their shoulders. "We made it," Haruka said in a weak but contented voice. However, they knew that the sacrifices made by those who did not survive would always haunt them. "They gave us a second chance," Kenji said hoarsely. They stood at the entrance to the forest, looking into it one last time. "This forest can now be a place of peace," Haruka said, holding Kenji's hand tightly. Kenji and Haruka returned to their lives, taking with them the memories and lessons learned from their horrific experience. They continued to spread the story of Aokigahara Forest, hoping that no one else would fall victim to the curse. However, the memories of the terror they experienced remained etched in their minds forever. Kenji and Haruka sat in their apartment, contemplating everything that had happened. "We have to make sure no one else enters the forest without knowing the risks," Haruka said determinedly. Kenji nodded. "We will continue to spread this story, so that people will know how dangerous the forest is." They both smiled faintly, knowing that they had done something meaningful. However, in their hearts, the terror and curse of Aokigahara Forest would always be a part of them. Even though the curse has been lifted, Aokigahara Forest remains a place of mystery and eerie beauty. Many are still curious and interested in exploring it. But Kenji and Haruka's story serves as an eternal warning, those who dare to approach the forest. The forest may have been quiet, but the shadows of the past still lurk in the darkness. A tourist stands at the entrance of the forest, reading the warning sign that Kenji and Haruka put up. Be careful and respect this forest. Many souls have been trapped here. Do not let yourself become one of them. Trembling, the tourists stepped back, deciding not to continue into the forest. Kenji and Haruka's story had saved another life. The story of Aokigahara Forest is a reminder that there are places in this world that are filled with both beauty and darkness. Sometimes, human curiosity can lead them into unexpected dangers. May this story serve as a warning to all of us to always be careful and respectful of places full of mystery. With this, the story of the curse of the Aokigahara Forest ends, leaving us with the understanding that the power and curse of the past can leave deep and indelible marks. Although the purification ceremony has lifted the curse, Aokigahara Forest remains a mysterious and frightening place, revered by those who know its story. Kenji and Haruka now live their lives more wisely, cherishing every moment they have. They continue to fight to spread awareness about the dangers hidden in seemingly beautiful places that are steeped in dark history. Aokigahara Forest, with all its mystery, stands tall at the foot of Mount Fuji, a lasting reminder of the power of nature and the spirits that never truly leave this place. Thank you for following Kenji and Haruka on this harrowing journey. Their story teaches us to always respect nature and the history it contains, and to always be careful when exploring places we are not yet familiar with. May this story serve as a reminder of the dangers that are unseen and give us the wisdom to face them with caution. If you are brave, perhaps one day you can explore Aokigahara Forest yourself. However, always remember to be respectful and careful, because this forest has a history that is deeper and darker than we can imagine. The story ends with a warning that human curiosity can often lead us to places full of danger and mystery. Kenji and Haruka's story in Aokigahara Forest shows us that there are forces and curses from the past that can leave deep traces. Although the purification ceremony has lifted the curse, the forest remains a place of mystery and eerie beauty. Thank you for following this story with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss other horror stories. Stay alert and respect the mysterious power in this world. See you in the next video. Remember, always be careful wherever you are. Horror greetings.